Welcome to the Sports Show. Mike, Max, Trent Tucker, Brian Lawton, and the one and only Sid Hartman. It's his birthday, but he doesn't want to talk about it, so we won't, at least for a while. Welcome to the show. How are you? Feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling all right.
Yeah. What do you think about the Wild? We were just talking about them, their playoff chances.
Well, the way they're playing right now, you got a hockey expert
I know,
here,
but you always want me to come to you first.
but there's parity in this league. There isn't any real dominant teams like the Montreal Canadiens used to be for years, how the Detroit Red Wings used to be for years. They seem to be almost as good as any team in the league. Maybe it's possible that they'll go far in the playoffs and maybe even get the Stanley Cup.
On the other hand, Brian, they could get a tough matchup and get bounced in the first round if they make it.
Yeah, that's true. And Sid's right. There is a lot of parity right now in the National Hockey League, more than ever, Mike. And the Minnesota Wild, obviously, in 7th place right now. But having, in my opinion, the best stretch, and certainly in the last 25 games in the National Hockey League, in the top 3 or 4 teams in the league.
But we were talking about before, and you said this schedule is as difficult or the most difficult of anyone that's in contention the rest of the way.
Yeah, it really is. The Wild have an incredibly difficult schedule down the stretch here. It was a huge win last night in St. Louis against the St. Louis Blues, obviously, but they've still got a lot of other teams that are not only battling for playoff spots, but solidly in there. And they've got Nashville on Tuesday night. They followed up with the Washington Capitals, another playoff team, and it just kind of keeps on coming.
So I'll start with you, and I'll ask Trent the same question. Would you rather see that where you've got 8 teams and no real upset really surprises you, or would you rather see, as the league Trent played in, where at the beginning of the year Michael Jordan's on the team, they're going to the finals. The question is maybe will they win it? Which league, how do you like it? Do you like a power league at the top with a couple of teams to shoot for, or do you like it like this?
I personally like the parity, particularly if you're working in the league in any capacity. It certainly makes it a lot more fun to know that anybody has a chance to win it. And the Minnesota Wild, they have a realistic chance in the West, in my opinion, to come out of that and get to the finals. And I actually believe whoever comes out of the West will win the Stanley Cup this year.
Trent, what league do you think flourishes more? The one where you've got a Michael Jordan and everybody knows the conference finals would be the minimum before the season that you know he's going to go to if he's healthy. Do you like that?
Well, I kind of like the parity as well. But now, if you're on the top team, you want that team to be the best. But I think it's great for the fans to know that when their team enters into the playoffs, they have a legitimate chance to win. And I think that's fun for everybody.
In the NBA, really, you don't.
One thing, both hockey and basketball kill the parity with their lotteries. The last place teams should get the best player, and it should go on. Then you would have parity for sure.
But here now you get into this whole thing, and we'll get to the Timberwolves a little bit later. You like the lottery, you don't like the lottery?
I don't like it.
Okay, so, Brian, put your GM hat on. If you're heading down the stretch, you think there's a great pick, and a lot of times there is one that stands out above the rest. You've been in that situation. You were the #1 overall pick.
Right.
What would you do if you're not going to make the playoffs then? Do you start tanking games?
Well, this year there's 2 great players in the National Hockey League, and we're changing our lottery to be a little bit closer to basketball, where it's not guaranteed. But right now, if you finish in the worst spot overall, you're guaranteed no worse than a second pick. This year there's 2 great players, an American in Jack Eichel and Connor McDavid. Whoever gets either one of these guys, they're franchise-type guys. This is the last year we're going to see that. We're going to see a lot more movement, and it's going to be how it is right now in the NBA, which Sid doesn't like, because he thinks the Timberwolves should have got a guaranteed higher pick in the past, I would say.
When I was in the NBA, the one thing that made it even worse, it was good they didn't have any lottery, but there was a territorial pick.
It was great for you.
Great for us.
George Mikan and Vern Nicholson. It wasn't good for the rest of the team.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm surprised that you allowed that to happen. I'm surprised that you, knowing the spirit of you, that you didn't say, I'd like to see more teams have access.
Mikan was not a territorial, but Mickelson was a territorial. And when we got Mickelson, that was the start all time of 3 big guys playing in the front line. It never happened before. That was the first time. And John Cunliffe didn't want to play Mickelson, but we just made him play him. and eventually he turned out to be a heck of a player. John was not he didn't want to convert to the new style with the three guys in front. Now it's kind of changed a little bit too. Some clubs aren't playing three guys in the front line, but for a while every club in the NBA had 6'8", 6'9", 6'7" guys.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, they changed some things. Trent, we were talking about the movement at the trade deadline. The NHL always has a big flurry, the NBA a little bit. Do you like that when teams are making a lot of moves at the deadline? Is that good for the game?
Not much, because you like to have a solid team, but you know that if you're trying to make that one playoff move and you're looking for that one player to come in that can change things, you like to be in a position to do that, but you don't like to see a lot of change at playoff time, because you like to believe that your team is solid at that stage and ready to go.
Brian, we didn't ask you about this before because we haven't had John since, but Jordan Leopold and Stewart at the deadline, what did you think of those deals? And why is the NHL always so trade happy? You've been a GM. Does everybody feel like they have to do deals?
Well, once somebody does, everybody feels like they've got to keep up, and that started early. David Perron went to the Pittsburgh Penguins for a first-round pick. I thought the Wild did a great job getting Jordan Leopold. I think he gives them just one more credible player on the back end, and I think Chris Stewart is doing excellent. They needed some size and grit, and that's what Chris brings.
Name the one or two teams that are much better than the Wild.
In the West, I would say that, believe it or not, the LA Kings, I would still fear them, having won twice in the past 3 years. You have to respect them. I think Anaheim, who was just in here and beat the Wild the other night and is 3-0 against them this year, those are teams that are certainly up there. Then you have the St. Louis Blues and the Chicago Blackhawks. Those are the top contenders, in my opinion, for the Wild.
Is Devin Dubnyk a great goaltender, or is he at the right place at the right time?
I think it's a combination of both. I don't think we've seen the best from Devin in his career. I was there when we recruited him at my old agency.
You represented him, yeah.
He was a client, and Devin was a fantastic goaltender in Edmonton, but the team was so poor that he never got credit for the good work he put in. Now he's finally getting that, and I couldn't be happier for him. He's a terrific guy.
Trent could play goalie nowadays.
Trent would be small.
I mean, a small guy now, right?
These big guys are becoming goalie.
Well, it's amazing. We see it in basketball all the time. It's amazing the athleticism you see from guys that are now 6'10", 6'11".
Right.
You know, you never even... 20 years ago, I don't think we saw the level of athleticism, and now that's translating to the goaltenders.
How about in the football? Some of these guys, 6'7", 6'8", and they can run a 4.
Well, it's unbelievable.
5'2",
It's
40 or
amazing.
something like that.
Let's take a break. Talk about that when we come back. Stay with us.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King, for the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. And Soundpoint Audiology, life is worth hearing.
Quality. It's the result of shared values. The joy found in an honest day's work. Respect for true American craftsmanship and the need, not the want, to get things right. It's the result of remembering your roots, being forever humbled by how far you've traveled and forever hungry to push on further. Quality is a result. Quality is who we are. Cambria. Family owned, American made.
You're watching CW-23.
If I don't come back alive, make sure you tell Emily.
Stop! Hey, Blake, where's your plane? Cars don't fly!
The Optima does. It's got a high-tech cockpit and a turbocharged engine. Over.
I'll fly in under the radar.
Over.
Okay.
Let's bake this cake.
Despite the heavy snow, no school cancellation.
Sorry, kids. Maybe next time.
Stay warm. Love you.
Hi, Wendy. Not coming to campus today?
Have you seen the snow outside, Professor Hampton? I'm studying online today.
Sounds like a plan. Let's start off by talking.
No matter where you go to learn, Concordia University St. Paul meets you there. Whether you're completing your bachelor's degree or starting your master's, Concordia has a program for you. To learn more, visit online at csp.com.
Your business is probably puzzled by today's ad choices. So how do you effectively use web, mobile, and beyond to reach your target customers? But that's where we shine bright. We're Sinclair Digital Solutions, a national full-service digital ad agency backed by the largest broadcast group in the USA. Our experienced team will develop a targeted plan and bring you measurable results. Learn more at sinclairdigital.com. Sinclair Digital Solutions is a boost to local brands, including Hibbing Community College.
See why more people are coming to Audi than ever before at Audi Minneapolis. Experience the legendary performance and handling of an A4 2.0 T Quattro. Lease yours for only $379 a month. Plus, Audi Minneapolis will make your first month's payment. Or try out the luxury and power of an A6. Lease for just $499 a month. The Summer of Audi event at Audi Minneapolis on 394 at General Mills Boulevard and at AudiMinneapolis.com.
Main Street is filled with hopes and dreams. The only thing you need is the right partner. The beacon of light that shines, that says we are in this together. That is Beacon Bank. Locally owned and community committed. They understand what you need. And they are your personal answer. Your friend in business and in life. Allow the folks at Beacon Bank to be a part of your life because they make dreams come true. Beacon Bank, it's a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Looking for a nice, big, juicy rack of ribs?
Fabulous chops, huge steaks, and the Buddy Bowl? Then J.D. Hoyt's is the place for you. Hoyt's opened in 1983, and Mike Andrews and his partner John White have kept this Minnesota tradition at the top of the food chain. Managing owner Pat Montague gives us a tour.
At J.D. Hoyt's, enjoy a relaxed atmosphere, great food, friendly service, private dining room, second-to-none happy hour, just blocks from the new ballpark.
Located at 394 in North Washington. Locally owned, nationally known. Hoyt's.
J.D. Hoyt's, downtown Minneapolis, on your way to one of these hockey or basketball tournaments or whatever, stop on by. J.D. Hoyt's. Welcome back to the show. Move it down to Vikings there on the menu. They made some moves too. Mike Wallace.
Well, Mike Wallace is a Randy Moss type of character where he's been with clubs he hasn't got along, but they brought him in. I talked to Zimmer today. They brought him in and they had a good talk with him, and he was happy here, contrary to what somebody wrote today that he wasn't happy coming to Minnesota. He was very happy coming to play for Zimmer, and they saved some money too. I mean, Jennings was getting more money than he was getting, so they saved some money, and they got a wide receiver that they think's pretty good.
Okay, Brian, put your GM hat on again. You got Mike Wallace sitting there for a trade. Greg Jennings, who's been just mildly productive, but he's never played with a good quarterback. I mean, a consistent quarterback over time. What goes into that decision? Is that an easy one to make?
No, it's not easy at all. You got to really do your due diligence in a situation like that. It's such an easy decision to get wrong. And that's where the due diligence comes in. I don't know what the right answer is.
Especially when you make it quick, huh?
Exactly, exactly.
Trent, what do you, when you're looking at Mike Wallace, if you think he's an upgrade over Greg Jennings, do you really got to study character then, or what do you try to do? What's the most important ingredient here?
Well, you want to make sure that from your philosophical standpoint that the player fits in. He understands exactly what you're trying to accomplish. You like his talent, for sure. You know he can stretch the field. He gives them a home run hitter. But you want someone that's going to fit into your locker room.
I'm going to get you back to your GM hat again here, Brian, but Adrian Peterson, if you're the GM and he's under contract, do you simply say, we got nothing more to say, we expect you at camp? Or do you have to massage someone like that?
I think in today's world, Mike, you've got to do a lot more work than you used to. The indentured servitude days of sports are over.
It just ain't there
Athletes
anymore.
expect more. It's part of the job, and most of the GMs, most of the teams, they understand that. And like Trent's saying, you want to make sure they buy into what you're selling and that they're going to be accountable. But you do have to go the extra mile for guys. And a guy like Adrian Peterson, if he's not worth it, who is?
Here's the thing. I watched you on TV the other night. You had him going to Dallas.
No, I didn't. I never had him going to Dallas.
Dallas had him going to Dallas.
I reported that the Dallas running back had signed with Philadelphia. That's different than saying Adrian Peterson's going to Dallas.
Dallas has got a big salary problem, salary
cap
deal
issue.
come. They just had to give a wide receiver Des Bryant, more money than Peterson gets.
Right.
If they could kept Murray, they would have kept him. He's just as good as Peterson.
Right.
Nobody knows what Peterson can do, but as of today, the Vikings have told Peterson, "You're under contract.
Right.
We'll pay you the money. If you want to play, fine. If you don't want to play, go retire."
But they'd like to know, because if he wanted to retire or leave him, then they'd have more money to spend on free agents.
His wife don't want him to come here. That's the biggest problem.
He's got 2 years left, I mean, in his career. Do what you want.
What they also might do for him, his money is not guaranteed.
Right.
They might give him, he's getting 12 plus million guaranteed, not guaranteed. They might say, okay, we'll give you 3 years at $7 million.
Guaranteed.
Guarantee it.
Would you do that, Brian?
I
would you guarantee more
I
of the
would do
contract?
anything I could to convince Adrian to come back and play here. I just think he's too valuable a guy. I certainly would want to control the asset if he didn't want to play here. I absolutely would want a king's ransom back for him. He's just that valuable a guy. And I think he does have a solid 2-3 years left minimum.
Does the fact, Trent, that he never really had any problems with teammates make a big difference in this deal? You know, we all know what his issues were, but he was never a problem in the locker room or as a teammate. Does that make a big difference?
That's a huge difference. I mean, because the players enjoy playing with him, and then some of the young guys can learn from him on the field. But, you know, we know his off-the-field issues are what they are. But when you have a guy who's solid in the locker room, a guy that you can count on every single day to be there for you, you want that guy on your team.
Here's the situation. The players all want him back. The players all want him back. So there's no problem in the locker room.
That's what we just said.
The coach wants him back. Yeah.
Who doesn't want him back?
Yeah.
The
Who
fans
doesn't want him back? The fans want him back, too.
Yeah, that's
you
what
want
I
him
said.
back, right?
That's what I said.
You want him back?
Sure.
Okay. Then what more do we need? Take a break, come back, stay with us.
Well, let me ask.
Ever wonder, why do I hear but not understand? Scientists at Cambridge University discovered the answer. Inside your cochlea, there are thousands of tiny hearing hair cells. Poor hearing occurs when regions of these hair cells die. Amplifying a dead region with hearing aids makes you hear worse, not better. The result of this study is a hearing clarity breakthrough. Using standard test equipment, dead regions of your cochlea are identified. Then, a new type of frequency-shaping hearing aid is programmed to bypass the dead regions. Only your usable hearing hair cells receive amplification. Brilliant. A local study is underway. 100 citizens with hearing problems are needed to receive this testing and then wear the tiny device for 10 days, recording your results. Call now to see if you qualify. Volunteers may keep the product at a special discount if they desire. Don't miss this opportunity. Call now.
Thanks for watching CW-23.
In a world full of compromise, the Audi A3 takes a different path. Get uncompromised design, the style and presence of Audi in a lighter, smaller form. Uncompromised performance, a lightning-quick turbocharged engine, and race-bred S-tronic transmission. Uncompromised luxury with standard leather seating and panoramic sunroof. Lease your A3 for only $299 a month. Plus, during the Summer of Audi event, Audi Minneapolis will make your first payment. Stay uncompromised. Audi Minneapolis.
Stop on by Audi Minneapolis, right off of 394 General Mills Boulevard. Check out the Q7 or the Q5 or the A8. It doesn't really matter. Built for all seasons and great people working on it. Welcome back to the sports show. Move her down to Gophers and NCAA on the menu there. The Gophers, Trent, not only did not make the NCAA, they didn't make the NIT.
That's a tough year.
That is a bad year for an upperclassman team.
Yeah, you know, a team that won the NIT championship a year ago. And sometimes you like to build on that, and you believe that coming through the next season, things should be a lot better for you. But they got off to a rough start in the Big Ten season, and they were never able to recover from there.
All right. So, Brian, when you assess a coach, how do you assess whether he's moving a program in the right direction or a team in the right direction or not?
I think, you know, obviously the on-field, on ice, what have you, product is the main thing, but how he's handling all the myriad of different situations that come up over the year, the communication, the level of accountability, the ability to convince the players that he can make them better day in and day out, that is something that's just paramount in today's coaching world.
Because if you're a boss, you really got to measure whether or not the players believe in him, right?
Exactly.
I mean, forget what the strategy is. Do they believe in the strategy because they believe in the guy, right?
Here's the thing. Their best player overall all season was Peter King. He was
Peter
their best
King's
player.
a writer for Sports Illustrated. Joey
end,
King you're talking about.
Yeah.
But Andre Hollins is still their best player.
At the end of the season, Walker was their best player.
Okay.
Peter King was a transfer from
Drake.
If they don't have him, they might have won no games.
So who do you hold responsible for Andre Hollins' up and down season? Because when he was good, he was really good. Do you put that on the coaches or what?
Let me tell you. The video in sports is so good.
No. He was good last year, and there was video. He was good the year before, there was video. What about the video when he was scoring 30 points this year?
Certain coach found a way to defense him. He couldn't go right, he couldn't go left, or something like that.
That sounds oversimplified to me in a game where you can get one-on-one matchups.
You know, I think once he got hurt last year, he has never recovered from that. He lost his explosion, he lost his quickness, and his confidence began to suffer. And when you're a shooter and the ball is not going in, it's very hard to find your confidence. And I just felt like last year when he went down with that serious ankle injury, he has never recovered from that to this day.
Trent, the NCAA was announced today. Is it just me? It seems like it's not as big a deal as it once was, maybe because the Gophers haven't been in it much, but I feel like the NBA has really gained on the NCAA tournament.
Well, when you look at what the NBA brings to the table, you look at the star players and the star power. You're looking for those big-time matchups as you get toward the conference finals and toward the NBA championship round. You have guys like LeBron James. You know, he goes back to Cleveland. Now can he take the Cavaliers somewhere that this team has never been? You know, will the San Antonio Spurs once again rise up, you know, with the age of their team
it's intriguing.
And make another run? So, yeah, it's the intriguing fact of the NBA.
Here's a joke of all time.
I can't wait for this.
Football, you have to play 3 years before you can turn pro. Basketball, you can go right out of freshman. Basketball claims that legally they can't do it, that the course won't let them make those kids stay in college. Does that make any sense that football can do it? Hockey, they can go as freshmen
In other words,
too.
well, Brian, hockey can come right out. I don't know the difference between legally and,
in college, in basketball, you have to declare, and you actually get a chance.
But what
to
he's
see
saying
what
is,
happens
would that
when you
hold
go.
up in court? Because the other leagues don't play by those rules.
Yeah, boy, there's a lot of things that I don't think would hold up in court if people started challenging the NCAA, and this is one of them. But believe me, there's a lot more. In hockey, you know, you can get drafted when you're eligible at 18 or 19, and then the club maintains the rights for 4 years. And the Gophers have a couple of interesting players this year. They've got Adam Wilcox and Mikey Riley.
Yep.
Don't forget about Mikey Riley, his dad.
So they're sitting really good, probably, huh? Because they've got a market for them that will be established?
Yes, as unrestricted free agents, you know, we have a salary cap, but those kids would be top earners wherever they decided to go, and they would at least each have 10 to 15 teams that would bid on them.
Riley got a big market for him, you think?
There'll be a very big market for Mike Riley.
How many players will they lose to the National Hockey League?
The Gophers.
The Gophers?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think they'll lose that many. No more than 2 or 3 this year, maximum.
Who?
Mikey Riley for sure. Some guys are graduating that will sign contracts like Boyd.
Wilcox?
Wilcox, I believe, will be gone this year. I think if not, with his rights owned by Tampa and their goaltending situation with Ben Bishop and Velesiev, that he'd be gone. He would have been gone already. So for sure on those two.
They came back and won the Big Ten at the end of the day. After the dust finally settled, the Big Ten champions assessed the Gopher hockey team.
Well, it's been a real up and down season for them, in my opinion. They've had some great moments, and they've had some really low moments this year, which we don't normally see out of them. But when it's all said and done, they're still one of the top college teams in the nation, but really they're still an elite national program. Year in and year out, the Gophers do a great job, and you have to tip your cap to them. It's not easy to be that competitive every year, and when they're not, boy, people really come after them fast.
I mean, like for 2 weeks when they're...
Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm talking
break,
about.
Come back. Stay with us.
If you guys could go on a free shopping spree anywhere, where would you go?
I go to the grocery store. Pizza, ice cream. I go shop for clothes. You know where I go? I go to Ticket King. Ticket King! At Ticket King, you can buy great seats for the Vikings, the Wild, the Timberwolves, and of course the Twins. We love the Twins. Yep, this is where I go. Vikings, Twins, Wild, Timberwolves, Gophers, theater, and concerts too. For details, go to ticketkingonline.com. Any ticket, anytime, anywhere. It's the real thing. It's Ticket King. Right, Dad?
Couldn't have said it any better myself.
That's for sure.
You're watching CW-23.
Main Street is filled with hopes and dreams. The only thing you need is the right partner. The beacon of light that shines that says we are in this together. That is Beacon Bank. Locally owned and community committed. They understand what you need. And they are your personal answer. Your friend in business and in life. Allow the folks at Beacon Bank to be a part of your life because they make dreams come true. Beacon Bank, it's a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Beacon Bank, Bob Weiss and his crew are waiting to help you live the American dream. Responsive, reliable, reassuring. Beacon Bank, the best in the business. Welcome back to the sports show. Move it down to Timberwolves.
Talking about the Beacon Bank, they're in the same building now with the Star Tribune. That moves March 27th.
They'll do anything to get your money.
The biggest problem I've had in my life is moving my office.
Which bank are they going to go to? Go to Sid or them? Which one has more? Hey, Trent, tell me. The Timberwolves are getting annihilated again tonight by San Antonio. Garnett doesn't play all week. They lose 4 in a row on the road. I don't want to just hear they're playing for a lottery here. I thought they were going forward. I'm not so sure they are.
Well, I mean, you know, at the end of the season, when things haven't gone well for you, it's hard to find that motivation. But the one thing you like about this season is the rise of Andrew Wiggins. You see a bona fide superstar potentially in him, and he has played some very good basketball against some of the elite players this year.
What's the other positive besides Wiggins that you see that's significant?
Rubio, if he's healthy, you know that he gives you a shot in the arm. Yep. But they're building for next year. You know, Kevin Garnett gave them a nice shot when he came back, and you're hoping that if he's around for another year, he can help these young players grow in the right way.
What would you do with Garnett next year? He doesn't want to play, obviously, very much. He hasn't played all week.
Yeah, I would, if it were me, I would love if he came back and played again.
Is it all about
a number? They're just going to need a guy that's in the room that's maybe not a coach, but kind of like a coach, like Kevin, that's done it the right way for so long, had such great success. I think it would really benefit even Andrew Wiggins, never mind their next pick, and the rest of their young guys.
No, it is your 95th birthday. Hang on.
I want to bring up something. Ponder was signed by Oakland.
Yeah,
that's right.
Bill Musgrave, who was the...
Must think he's pretty good, huh?
Must think he's pretty good.
Yeah.
All
of us
said when he starts for Oakland, you'll eat your words.
Okay, I'm waiting for that. It is your 95th birthday, and we want to do something special. So I called. I had to get a cake made, and I wanted to have Sid Hartman's face on there and the whole bit. So I described over the phone what our man Sid Hartman looks like as a kind, gentle old man. And this is what they came up with. Sid on his 95th birthday. That's a pretty good likeness, isn't it? Smile, man.
Must have been a very cheap cake.
Just like the man. That's all part of the man. How does it feel to be 95?
How does it feel? At 95, I'm pretty lucky. I'm healthy for a 95.
Yeah, you are.
For 95, you usually have a lot of problems. I have problems, but I love what I do, and that keeps me healthy.
And young.
Knowing guys like Brian Lawton, from the time he came to the North Stars, for knowing him forever, having friends like that.
Happy birthday, Sid.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. And Sound Point Audiology. Life is worth hearing.